everyone, and welcome to another episode of Jeffrey Court's Designer Coffee Chats. I'm Amanda, and today I'm joined by Jamin and Ashley Mills.
Thanks so much for having us. We're excited to be here today.
Well, today I thought we would take some fan questions and really put you guys in the hot seat.
Sounds like fun.
We can't wait.
Perfect. So our first question actually comes from Samantha from Florida. She wants to know what happens when in a renovation. What are the stages of a typical renovation to anticipate?
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people get confused about. I mean, everybody knows the big things. Like, you know that you've got to pour the foundation or frame it before you can paint it. That everybody kind of gets, but I think people get confused towards the end when you get to kind of finishing pieces or trimming out stuff and what order things need to go. And so sometimes they'll get frustrated with their builder or contractor. And so understanding there is a certain order and as we like to say, a madness or a method to the madness to the whole thing. And so you'll have certain things that'll happen first, like you don't want to put down your tile sometimes before you put down, say, your countertops, because you'll want to frame around it and stuff like that. Or you don't want to finish off your sink pieces before you do some other things, or you'll have finished paints and all that. And so there is kind of a method, and each contractor sometimes will do it a little bit different too. So it's kind of a good question to understand, that there is a way to do certain things, and you don't want to do one thing before you do another thing.
I think those are all really valid points to know in any renovation. Okay. Our next question actually comes from Jen from Ohio, and this question's for Ashley. Jen is renovating her kitchen and adding an oven hood, but doesn't know where to end her tile. What would you recommend?
A lot of things that we see people doing a little too often is not really utilizing the space of where their tile can go. So there's just so much potential for maximizing the usage of your tile. And we say, just as a rule of thumb, go as high and as wide as you can. So as much as you can utilize that space, it's gonna be different for everyone's room and what that entails. But if you can take it a little bit higher than you usually would and just a little bit broader across the room in as many ways as you possibly can, it'll really help make that space amazing.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with you. Our next question actually comes from Sally from Arizona, and she wants to know, how do you know which tile and which grout to seal and when?
Yeah, I think, again, it's one of those things, paying attention to the spaces you're in. There's certain tile that's made for walls, certain tile that's made for your floor. Things that are non-slip, have more grout lines, stuff like that typically go on your floor. A lot of people don't like marble in certain areas because they don't want the upkeep or the cleaning. Some people love it because it's beautiful. So there's some that's a function side and some that's just a taste side as well with it. As far as the sealing and stuff like that, it's pretty much recommended to seal tile and grout at least once a year. Now there's some people that just don't want to seal it because they like that kind of weathered look, and that's okay too. Again, that's kind of a preference thing, but if you're looking for that, I don't ever want dirt to permeate any of this kind of stuff, or I want the least cleaning as possible, then they recommend about once a year for something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, especially with like a basalt tile. Sealing it, because it's a really porous tile, right, is a really great tip. Yeah. Our next question comes from Becca from New York, and she asks, what is the benefit of having a designer or a contractor?
That is something we could both answer. I'll answer from the designer end first. We feel like having a designer is definitely something that can benefit someone, especially if they're not really sure where to start. I think that it's really beneficial to have someone just to hold your hand and help you through it and help you make wise decisions that you won't regret later. It's a lot of money to spend up front, and that's really intimidating to most normal people. And so it helps to have someone just to really assist you through it and help you make wise choices.
Yeah, and I think I want to add on the designer thing too. I mean, it is one of those things, it's a talent and a gift that people have, and some don't have it, and that's nothing against them, but you don't want to spend all this money you're about to spend on renovation and not have it beautiful. And so I think that's the biggest benefit, is you're getting someone who is just great at making things look beautiful, help you achieve that goal. As far as a contractor, I mean, we're big believers in do-it-yourself and think everybody should attempt something like that in their life. But there are some projects that you ought to leave professionals, whether it's because it's above your skill level, it's above your time commitment. That's one of the big things. Even though we know how to do a lot of things, we'll hire people sometimes to do it for us because of the time investment, or because they're maybe more skilled in that one area. You can't be jack of all trades, and so that's a good thing. But then also, like with codes, or if you start getting into weight-bearing walls and stuff like that, you need somebody who does this all the time, because you don't want that crashing down on you. So there are some really good reasons to do it, and there are some good times to DIY it as well.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, for sure. Thanks so much for taking some of the fan questions today. I think it was really fun to hear from you both.
Thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Jeffrey Court's Designer Coffee Chats. We're signing off for this season, but we can't wait to see you next.